that calendar. We're jumping into the notes. Okay, and let me move my fat head out of the way of the notes here. All right. Okay. In the chat, number one. This is interesting. Give me 5 seconds. Is this a permutation or a combination? Because this is review. Five, four, three. Get ready. One letter. Two, one, zero. One letter. P or C. Oh, you put all of it in. Some people. Nice. Look at the spread. It almost looks like 50-50. All right. This is the same as a seating chart. There is anyone that plays baseball, they have in their mind, or at least, maybe a baseball fan knows it's different to bat first than it is to bat ninth. I mean, number three is the cleanup hitter. Or I'm sorry, number four is the cleanup hitter. Number three is usually the best hitter. Number one is usually our leadoff setting the table fast. Same thing with softball. Very, very similar situation. So unfortunately, this would be a P for those that said the C's. Again, it's like a seating chart. There's a difference. You don't just say, "Oh, I'm in a batting order," and some people might feel that way, but no, there's a difference. Just like there's a difference between the seven dwarfs. It's really a similar scenario. So I guess that's baseball specific, but yeah. All right, next one. 5 seconds. P or C. Four, three. This should be fast. Two, one, zero. Ethan got in there quick. Actually, it looked like both Ethans. Good. And it looks like we got all C's on that one. I think we understand that the only thing that happens there is the article gets read. It doesn't matter who I read first or fifth. If I have these five articles, the order that I read them doesn't matter. We got to get the repeats out of that, right? And that's why it's a C. Okay, one quick thing. I just had a thought that I know I did not say to my third hour. I wanted to reiterate what I put here for 2 and 15, and then also tell you don't be a robot on this worksheet. It does have a spread of a couple questions from the previous notes. So just because I'm doing permutations and combinations today, again, with some different concepts, it's not all permutations, combinations on the worksheet. You got to think. All right. So just make sure you understand that. So, number two, I think maybe talks about flowers or cars or books or whatever. And then there's a section of these books and these books and these books. And I just got a problem with those. So treat those like the word bumblebee. All right. So the same types of things, whatever, they're treated in a group like repeated letters. And then you'll make sense out of the key when I actually do that question. I have a problem with those kind of questions. I kind of have a problem with number 2 and 15 because it could be interpreted in different ways. I want you to interpret it that way. And that way your key will match your answer. My key will answer your answers or match your answers. Struggling with the right words this way. All right. And then now for this part, and actually I'm probably talking long enough where you might be able to take classic notes and be fine. And we're going to go right into the brass tacks of it. And we're not really doing probability yet. We're doing how many ways things could happen. Probability will happen Thursday, where we start talking about decimal and percent chances that this will occur. Like yesterday, I gave you the lottery example, and I'm going to use that right away for why we use what and means. But I just told you how many tickets you would have to buy to cover every single number. Very simple what probability is. You buy one ticket, the probability you win the lottery is one divided by how many ways, how many different numbers there are. So it's ginormous, and that's why it's very hard to win the lottery. But think of the last one, the Powerball, your homework yesterday. Or I think I talked about the Mega Ball, and I think I said there was 52 numbers back in the day, and for Mega Ball you definitely only choose 5, and then you choose a Powerball, which is a mix of 26 balls, and then you choose one. All right, and then the amount of ways that happens was much higher than just from 52 balls choosing 6. So yesterday I did show that was 52 choose 5, and then from 26 balls choose the mega ball. All right, and then that proves the point, or at least hammers down the point, that whenever you have the word and in probability or in how many ways something can happen, that means you multiply. Okay, and that's lock it in. So that must mean whenever you have the word or, you add. Not that you would have come up with that, but that is true. So what that means, though, and it should make sense when we do these questions, what's the probability I win the Mega Ball lottery or the Illinois lottery? Well, you should understand that those are two completely separate scenarios. I have a probability of winning this, I have a probability of winning that. What's the probability of winning both? You add, all right? One or the other, not winning both, one or the other, sorry. So you add those two probabilities. So again, that's what or means, and you're just going to have to figure that out. All right. Now, looking at this first question, I'm going to do it again. Number 3, 10 candidates are running for 3 seats in student government. You may vote for as many as 3 candidates. Ooh, as many as 3 candidates. In how many ways? Curious who that is. You vote for 3 or fewer. Before I continue, in the chat, super fast, P or C before I do anything. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. All right, good. Million C's. All right, hopefully everyone answered. If you didn't, nah. All right, it's because you're just getting on the student government. You're not getting assigned a role of president, vice president, and so on and so on and so forth. So it doesn't matter if you're picked first or third, you're on the government. All right, so it's definitely a C. Okay, so now vote for 3 or fewer candidates. Okay, so that means 3 or 2 or 1. And I really don't like this. I'm going to have to talk to Mr. Stronowski and Mrs. Fasola about this. Or 0. I've never really accounted for that. And it does happen in other cases. But I guess that's one way of doing it. I refuse to vote. And there's one way of doing that, just saying no. All right. And actually, when we write this out, it does end up being 1. So we're going to throw that in this one and then show you later how I don't really want to cause confusion on that. But yeah. And then what is this saying? Well, I could choose to go in the vote and I really only like 1 out of the 10 candidates. I don't want to vote for anyone else. So I could just vote for 1. So that's why this is a unique possibility. Same thing with 2, so on and so forth. So from 10 candidates, I could vote for 3, or I could vote for 2, or I could vote for 1, or this is a weird one. I guess I could look at the candidates and say, I don't like any of them. So I'm just not going to vote for any. And actually, believe it or not, 10C0 is 1. All right, I'm going to write these individual things down. And that's why I'm looking at my note sheet so you don't have to calculate today for purposes of that. Oh, by the way, sorry, got to go back to my calendar. This one is kind of weird. Like I said, I'm going to oversay that over and over and over again. Kind of weird to say 0 as a possibility, but yeah. All right, so let me go to the calendar real quick. Forgot about this because I just thought about the calculator. Hey, can you see that? Maybe you didn't pay attention to that. That's why I made it obnoxiously large. But Mr. Stronowski also nicely enough put a document together back in the past. How do you access factorials? NPR and NCR on almost every calculator that exists out there. So go ahead and take a look at that. If you're struggling, you're on your own on that because it's very informative. Okay. So I was just thinking about the calculator if you had to type it on there. All right, let's move on. A local movie rental store. What's that? Do those even exist anymore? And actually, this is funny. Hey, raise your hand because this is sad. I have a daughter your guys' age. We used to go at a family video 2 hours or 2 hours, 2 minutes away from my house, and it just closed probably about 3 4 months ago. Very sad day for me because how many people, when your parents went or guardians went to the movie store and you were younger, you'd run to the kids section and grab some movies? Anyone? Come on, someone raise their hand. And I missed that, and I know all my kids do that. So you at least know what a video store was, and that specialness of being able to grab a video and all this other stuff. And you guys, you guys should look on Netflix. I don't know if you've seen this before, but we just saw it like a week ago, The Last Blockbuster. And it'll actually it's a bit more nostalgic for me because video stores, I remember when they first came to be. Oh no! This is a tragedy. I'm gonna have to run. I gotta run. Hold on. I'm right here. Woo! Beat it. Because when I get that battery message, I have like 2 seconds in order to get it plugged in, or else it's going to shut down on me, and I would have lost all those notes. Woo! Okay, I got to catch my breath now. All right, Last Blockbuster. Watch that on Netflix. Anyway, all right, you want exactly 2 comedies and 3 family videos. Okay, so this is how this one works. Woo! A lot of run in there. How many comedies do you have to choose from? 12. So out of those 12 comedies, you will choose 2 and multiply by how many family movies there are. 9, choose 3. Right, and then I'll go ahead and give you that one. And then what you should do on your own is maybe check your calculator. Can you type this in? And it's actually very easy. You type it just like this, hit the multiply button just to separate these, and then type it just like that and press enter, and you should be fine. Oh, gotta catch my breath. Okay, then you go into the movie store, and the word exactly is great there. So you don't have to worry about more than, less than, like blah, 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 blah. You can afford at most. All right. So I remember my seniors really having troubles with the word at most. I mean, it's just English. And we were talking about how this probability is actually reading tests. You got to read the question, disseminate in your mind what kind of thing do I have to do with this when they get all mixed together. And we'll have to, when we go through review sessions, that's the big thing. You get all these different possibilities. What kind of situation do I have to use here? So, but we're taking them in chunks, and that's what happens with a test. Then you got to really figure out when to use what. But at most means 2 or less. That's what it means. If I have at most $5 in my wallet, I have 5 or 4 or 3 or 2 or 1 or 0. And did you hear that? Or 0. So I think in this case, 0 does make sense. Because you could go into the movie store and say, you know what, I don't like any of these. I'm going to walk out, and I know that's happened in the past. Or I was looking for a specific movie and it wasn't there. I'm like, forget it, I'm out of here. I'm going. Right? So I'll get some on my screen there. But it doesn't say anything specific, and it's not tied to A. This is just of all the movies I can rent 2 or less. So what you got to do is add these all up and notice that you have 41 possible movies, and I could only afford 2, or I don't like 2 of them. I only like one of those. So I could do that. Or I think I like the 0 in this case. You could walk out of there with nothing. And then that's actually 41C0 does actually calculate to be 1. It really does. Right. And actually, in one of these, I am going to do the no calculator so that you remember how to do that maybe as a review thing. Okay. All right. Good to go, everyone. All right. Thumbs up from anyone that I see there. I see about a majority of you here on the other screen. That's why I keep looking over here. All right. Let's go faster. We're at 12:24. I mean, Student Senate consists of 6 seniors, 5 juniors, 4 and 3 you can read. How many different committees? So from our Student Senate, we're going to form a committee. All right. Of the word exactly is your friend, less to do. Exactly two seniors and exactly two juniors can be chosen. Well, no sophomores, no freshmen. Sorry, sophomores, you're out. This is a sophomore class. So in this one, for seniors, six seniors, and I'm going to choose exactly two. And then this committee is also going to have, it's not an or, you're doing this and that. So again, really focus on the words, the reading, and then the analyzing mathematically what happens. And then five juniors, choose two of those. Notice I said a lot of people do that with combinations too. Five, choose two. All right, especially when the order doesn't matter. Why doesn't the order matter again? Because you're just on the committee. You're not assigned any treasurer, president, vice president. You're not assigned any specific roles. So when I choose these two, it doesn't matter the order that I choose the two. C order doesn't matter. This is the one that we're going to do without a calculator. I think. Let me make sure. No, we'll do one later. But that's certainly an easy no calculator question, no doubt about it. So I think this one's 150. I was just looking at the notes here, just so I don't have to calculate. We'll do a no calculator one here later. And then how many different committees of at most four students can be chosen? Okay, so we do want to make a difference about. We really don't want to make a difference about the classes because it doesn't say so. It just says how many different committees could I choose at most four students. By the way, at most means four or three or two or one, and then this is where we have a problem. Or zero, if we had zero people chosen, if that's the right word, then there'd be no committee. So this is where zero doesn't really make sense. Zero makes sense in the video store example, but it doesn't make sense because you don't have a committee. And then what you could argue is this is where I had a problem with zero going back to the notes. And how many we could, I guess we could vote for zero candidates and say, you know what, I don't like any of the candidates, just like I don't like any of the movies. So I know that's a bit of a, gray area with probability. There's actually a lot of gray areas in probability. That's why sometimes it is a challenge. But this one, no committee if you don't select any students. So I'm not going to do that possibility. So it's same old, but this in this case without, come on, pen. Waiting for the pen. Come on. Come on, pen. Ooh, do I have to hit it? Come on. That has been. Oh, that maybe that does work. Tapping the back of it. Okay. There's 18 total students. Doesn't separate the classes. So from 18, it's four or three or two or one. And then if I put zero there, it's really not what would be happening in this 4047 ways. So again, how would I type this on the calculator? Exactly as that looks, all in one shot, and then press enter. And that's up to you to check. Can you do that and make that happen? It's pretty easy. Ooh, how many people? Olive Garden salad, best salad. Anyone? 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 Come on. Nice. I got a couple heads up there. It's one reason why we go there a lot. The salad dominates, and then I do love just about anything I buy there. So okay, so this is the one we'll do without a calculator. 1229, gotta go. Salad bar offers 8 choices, toppings, blah, blah, blah. How many ways can you choose? Four or five toppings? Okay, salad. You put it in, you mix it up. Doesn't matter the order, it's a combination. So it's 8C4 or 8C5. All right, my incident of having to get the power cord, otherwise I was going to lose everything, lose it all. That's why it was a panic. Okay, so real quick as review, and I think you could do the last one just fine, but this is 8 factorial over. Now go ahead and do this. For a combination, is that 4 factorial? This flat out goes right here. This is why I do no calculator, so you prove you know what a combination is and what the formula is behind the scenes of just pressing buttons and extracting an answer. And then this is 8 minus 4 factorial. Just go ahead and calculate 8 minus 4 and then put that in there. The next thing I would do is 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 factorial. On the bottom, I would write out one of the 4 factorials and leave the other 4 factorial alone so that I could cancel, because that's what's happening with that. Very simple. Then, hey, everybody, what's 4 times 2? Everyone should be saying 8. 4 times 2 is 8, so that cancels. 3 goes into 6 twice. 2 times 5 is 10. 10 times 7 is 70. All right, so that's what I get for that. And then super fast with this one, this is faster. 5 factorial for a combination goes right here. Then 8 minus 5 factorial goes here. Yes, that's not a coincidence that 5 and 3 add up to 8 on the bottom. And then I would do this one faster because this is 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 factorial. I'd write 3 factorial out and then stick that 5 factorial over here to cancel. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 cancels with 6. This is 56. And then you can go ahead and add to get 126. Yeah, thanks, Notes, for randomly going back to the top of the page. Love this program. And then the word at least before you leave. At least means 5 or 6 or 7 or 8. That was the total amount of toppings. So this would be 8C5 plus 8C6. And then I'll keep writing and say this was a perfect set of notes for a Wednesday because it really isn't that bad. Remember, the homework is not all these types of questions. It's a mishmash of everything we've done up to this point. So be careful of that. Okay, we will see you. If anyone has any questions, feel free to stick around. Ooh, finally caught my breath from that big sprint during the notes.